Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm so glad you're here this morning. We've got a great show lined up, a couple of special guests with some great information you're going to enjoy. Good friends of mine, and we're just going to have a good time this morning. Let's start with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin Highway 77. Looking at a high today of 88 and a low of 77. Our water temperature right around 88 degrees. It's been pretty steady this whole month. It dropped down a couple of degrees after that storm came through, but back up around 88. Let's take a look at our river readings brought to us by Mountain Dew. Take it outside with Mountain Dew. I don't have the exact readings this morning, but I can narrow it down. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown right around 4 foot. The Choctaw at Caryville somewhere around less than 2 foot. So we haven't had a lot of enormous amount of rain, so not a lot of fluctuation in our river for the last this week and probably most of next week, it looks like. The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We're in neap tides today. Not a lot of tidal movement. We do have a little bit of a flow with that. The high tide this morning early now is like 5:05, and then we're going to have a high tide. I'm sorry, it's going to be going out. Low tide is going to be this afternoon at 7:08, and the marine forecast southwest around 10. So that's going to keep it moving in a little bit. All right, let's take our break. We'll be right back with our guest. All right, welcome back. And look at our guest this morning, Ken Paramore.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Stan.
Good morning. Good morning, Winston.
Glad
to be back.
Glad to have y'all. Now, you know, last time they did the show by themselves, but I just want to come in with them because I just enjoy doing the show with them. So maybe next time you do it by themselves. I appreciate y'all covering all these times.
Glad to be part of your pro staff.
Yeah, y'all are great. Y'all are great.
We winged it anyway, didn't we?
Y'all did good, I'm telling you. All right, now we got all kinds of things to talk about. Of course, we got the big NWTF banquet coming up in a couple of weeks, but we're gonna get to that later. But let's catch up on what y'all been doing outdoors. So what's been going on?
Snapper fishing for me a little bit. We were fortunate enough to get 30 days this year recreationally. So, but if you factor in weather days between wind and rain, which we had almost a week of that, a few weeks ago, or at least almost every day, or it was blowing. So the days were limited. Managed to go, I think, 3 trips and managed a few fish during those trips, and found some of those little baby chicken dolphin, mahi, and that made up for the snapper that we couldn't, get, or, when you only have another person in a boat, you go out for 4 fish and you come home.
Yeah.
But can't complain. Season's over now, so it's back to beeliners and.
Yeah, yours was about a typical recreational story. I heard from so many people. They got about 3 trips in with the weather and live bait.
It was hard getting live bait.
Yeah.
The bait boat was out of it some days before daylight. And then you had to go catch it, and if you go around the buoys to catch it, that cuts into your fishing time.
Yeah.
And then I had some boat issues along the way too. I had to get straightened out, but now it's back to hurricane painting ceilings and working.
It's never going to end. Nope. I don't think it is either. Stan, what you been up to, buddy?
Well, Winston, of course, I had a little medical setback in the first of the year. I found out about the time of the storm that I had to have heart surgery, and then hospitals were torn up. I had to go out of town for my surgery, and then unfortunately, the day I caught more redfish than I've ever caught in my life. I landed 9 by myself, and I pulled 3 or 4 more up to me, and they got off. They had buddies with them, and then I had a light stroke. But I'm okay now. The doctor told me that I'm good to go now, and I've been one more time. I caught my daughter caught two speckled trout, but we've been actually we went out last week. We went out trolling, but it is we tried anywhere from 10 feet to 25 feet trolling near the beaches, but we didn't do any good. It's hot. It is unbelievably hot. And I was praying for a little wind, but we threw in the towel about 10:30, 11 o'clock and said, that's it, we're done.
Yep.
But we know he got a good ticker because after his heart surgery, he managed to kill 2 turkeys.
That's right.
That won't test the heart
That's exactly
out in the
right.
mornings. I don't know what
You did
will.
get two, didn't you?
They wanted to commit suicide. That's all I can say. But they were ready
We
to go.
know his heart's in good shape.
Yeah, they
now.
were ready to go. I tried not to get excited, but I still got excited.
You know, after all these years working for the Fish and Wildlife Commission and all the experiences y'all have had and all, and when y'all retire, y'all still have this passion for outdoors. It's inspirational to a lot of people, and I know y'all.
Well, it's the reason we got into that.
Yeah.
We had that as teenagers. You know, we had that growing up. So I knew in high school what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and did it for 35 years after I graduated. So it's just in you.
Yeah.
You know?
I went. I'll tell you this. I went with a friend fishing this year, and we landed a couple of red snapper in the bay, and you can't keep them. And you know, I didn't give any thought. They went back over they had to go back over the side, and then I caught a redfish that was too long. It was like 40 inches. It was huge.
Yeah.
And you know, had to chuck him back over. And the guy with me said, "I guess if we catch anything else, you're going to throw it over the side." I said, "Well, if it's not legal, I said, if you want fish, go to Guinea's and buy it."
That's the truth.
Anyway,
See, your legacy lives on right here.
Well,
you know,
anyway, yeah.
I was down in St. Joe the other day talking to the well boys, and they want to know how Captain Paramore was. They still know Captain Paramore.
They're my boys.
Yeah, and they
Wow,
think
that's
the
good.
world. All these young law enforcement guys, these have been their role models, both these guys, and they think the world of y'all. I talked to a lot of them.
And I miss them.
Yeah, and y'all have a great following on the show now. You people see you over Sneeds all the time about being on the show.
I was up there not too long ago, and somebody saw me. I walked into a store, and they said, how are you, and how's Winston? And they wanted to know how you were doing, and you got a following, Winston. I'll tell you, everywhere
It's
you got
everywhere
a
we
following.
go.
Well, I think that the big thing we have going for us, we're locals, and we talk about real people doing real things in the outdoors in the Florida Panhandle.
And you're real, that's
It's
right.
Simple as that.
Yep, that's it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with our buddies. All right, welcome back with my buddies, Ken Paramore, Stan Kirkland. We are talking about all kinds of stuff off the air about the state park and all. Before we get back to that, let's look at our hunting heritage banquet. So let's tell folks about that. Make sure we get that covered.
Well, a little bit about it. This year is we were on the fence about even having it.
Yes.
Because everybody was devastated in October, and after the first of the year, we got together and we were back and forth about. So where it came down to was the venue. If we could still have the venue we had for the last 4 years, if it wasn't damaged and they would have us back, we decided, why let this thing beat us? This will be our 5th annual, and if we can get the venue, we know how to put on a banquet. NWTF left it in our lap as to either you do or you don't, which is okay with us. And so we made a decision after about 7 or 8 months had gone by that we went down to the church, and the gymnasium had some damage, but it's still functional. So we made a decision to go forward.
First United Methodist Church, right?
Yeah,
downtown.
downtown.
It's going to be
downtown.
August the 9th, and this is our 5th annual, like I said, and we anticipate we've got probably 13 or 14 sponsors signed up as we speak, so we're halfway to what we had last year anyway. So we know even right now with that many sponsors, we're going to have a good banquet.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, if this area is going to rebuild and be Panhandle strong, and then why let it defeat us and not have one? So we decided to have one.
I'm so glad you did, and it's you know, I go to all these banquets and I just look forward to them. And the number one thing is the camaraderie there with like-minded people.
Right.
And close behind that number one now is that food.
The food is good.
The purpose of it though is really overwhelming. What we're trying to do is tell the
It's
folks about it.
you know, it's a save the habitat, save the hunt is the NWTF's motto, and 89 to 90 cents of every dollar that is generated from our banquets goes to the state. It doesn't go to the country, it goes to the state. And the Florida Fish and Wildlife and the Florida Forest Service matches our dollars. And last year there was over $400,000 generated statewide from banquets.
Almost 500,000.
That's cool.
And fundraisers, that all the chapters do their own things. Well, when FWC and the Park Service, Florida Forest Service, I'm sorry, matches it, we put about $2 million back into what they call back into the ground. The money does not go to any private land. The money is divvied up statewide by the state board. The FWC and the Forest Service, they form a priority list of the areas that they would like to see funds spent, whether it be for prescribed burning, food plot, planting, opening up, the forest, and we spread it out. And so from 400,000, almost 500,000 from banquets, matched by the two state agencies, there was $2 million that was put back into state wildlife management areas last year.
That's impressive.
1 year.
That's impressive.
So that's where our money goes, and most of our sponsors so far that are returning sponsors. We have a few new ones so far, but most, they enjoy the banquet so much, and everybody has a good time. We have a great auctioneer. The food is great. So we have a lot of returning sponsors.
Jim does a great job, the cook down at First United Methodist Church, and the ladies, I know Jane Groom, Jane, everybody knows Jane and Jane and Ronnie from C&G. Jane cooks desserts, and these are homemade, and so you can't get better food. It's just part of your ticket that you buy.
Well, I'm gonna be sitting. I sit at the C&G table.
Okay.
So I'm sitting with a cook, so we make sure we get. But that food is so good.
Ronnie Groom, from day one, when Stan and I walked into his store, when we didn't have a chapter in this county, and he was one of the first on board, and has been with us ever since, and along with a lot of our sponsors. But he kind of helped push us. Had the connections, and kudos to Ronnie Groom for helping us out.
Yes, that's true. And also, it's a Bay County Longbeards, but it's open to anybody that wants to come down to it.
Absolutely.
I know my nephew's group, they had a very strong group up there in Bluntstown, the Calhoun and Liberty County group, and they sort of fallen on hard times.
Yep.
And if any of you guys and girls want to come down, we'd love to have you. We
Absolutely.
really would. And,
we have the whole purpose of the thing, Winston, is to, you mentioned like-minded.
Yeah.
It's people who enjoy the outdoors. You don't have to be a turkey hunter. If you just enjoy the outdoors or have an interest or have family, we take that money, and of course, as Ken said, that money goes to help support things that grows turkeys, but also other kinds of wildlife, deer, songbirds, you name it.
You brought up a great point right there. It's just not for the turkey, it's for the whole enjoyment of the outdoors.
Right.
And that's why we talk about it over and over again. We, as outdoors people, outdoorsmen, outdoor ladies, we have to stay strong and support each other. And when something like this comes up, it don't even cross my mind not to go to
Winston, we don't keep a dime. We don't keep any of the money.
How much y'all get paid?
How do you hold up a zero?
Every person that puts on a banquet for the NWTF in the United States does it for free.
For free,
Yeah, all the drives you make to see people repeated times. I got people that I've talked to about tickets, and they say, well, let me talk to so-and-so and come back. So those are repeated trips.
Yeah.
Now, you can call people, but I like to look at somebody, and, you're doing it out of the,
out of the love of
out of the goodness of your heart. You
outdoors.
don't, that's the reason you do it.
We did do a little mail-out postcard thing last week that all the previous attendees, we had their addresses, so those were sent out as reminders, and we've gotten some good response back on those cards for people want to still be involved, and we're tired of looking at all this around here that's so tore up.
I know, and we keep talking about getting back to normal, and of course it's a new normal, but we are getting back. Every little thing we do as outdoorsmen trying to get back to normal helps us. And what's fascinating to me is the the turkeys and the deer and all, they've adapted. They're still out there.
Like those eagles you showed on TV the other day. The eagles
on a bent tree.
A makeshift broken tree.
Yeah.
Because there are no pine trees for them to nest in.
That's so cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come right back. All right, welcome back. So glad you're with us here on Panhandle Outdoors. Let's take a look at our game times today. We're looking at brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe, 6:15 to 8:15 this morning, and this evening from 6:36 to 8:36. Now we were talking about the things. Tell us about what's going to be there.
We have a silent auction, and we have a live auction.
Okay.
That's after we eat. But during the time before we eat, all our items that are set aside for the silent auction are on tables, and you can go up there at your leisure and you can bid on a sheet and then go sit down and then come back and check it. And then after we get done eating, we have a live auction with all the higher end stuff, if you will, or things that, and it just goes crazy from there.
And some quality stuff. Dan, I know you've got some
Well,
pictures
it's everything from firearms that we auction off to we got clocks, we got insets for like tables, we got special kinds of chairs that are made, got prints, art, all kinds of things that we have that we auction off.
In several auctions, we have donated items from local vendors that we either live or silent auction, depending on where they fit. And so we're always looking for sponsors and donations that way too. But NWTF provides us with a basic auction package, and it goes to every banquet in the country. And then but we have gun raffles and coolers.
And one of the things we haven't even talked about is we've got the gun of the year that we're auctioning or we're selling tickets to. We only had 100 tickets, so Ken and I and others on the committee are selling tickets to that, and we've sold over half the tickets already. We're going to sell out probably within the next week, but it's a Benelli. It's a fine gun. And if there's a turkey hunter out there that wants a ticket, they're $20. My brother-in-law, I was telling him about it, and he said, "I'll send you a check. I want to get a few." He lives in Daphne, Alabama.
I want some tickets too today.
And
it's $20.
It's engraved, and it has an NWTF serial number.
Oh, cool!
So it's a limited edition.
Beautiful gun.
I also heard that being that is going to a pre-sale, that they're working on getting us a centerfire bolt action with a scope and 6.5 Creedmoor. That will probably be another auction item there. Probably box calls or something will be bid on for that. So. And
one of the wonderful things too about our sponsors, they pay the freight in large part. Ken mentioned how many sponsors already, but most of these sponsors, if they give a certain amount, they get a gun, and we give them a list. They get to pick from whatever kind of gun. There's quite a list of guns they get to pick from, firearms, and so it's a pretty sweet deal. There's probably not any other fundraiser that's held locally where sponsors are treated as nice as they are. And I mean, if you can walk away with a $700 or $800 gun and
that's shows what a class act it is. You give them, they're donating a lot of time, but you giving them something as a gift.
We try and give them something in return.
And they have a good time.
Yeah.
They enjoy that.
So if people want to come, say for the first time, I've never been there, and I'd recommend just coming for the enjoyment and fellowship.
It's August the 9th.
It's what, August the 9th? Oh, God. And
First United Methodist Church down on 4th Street, downtown. 6 o'clock. The doors open at 6. And we will have tickets at the door.
Okay, well, that's what it's.
And they'll also get, once they pay and come in, they get a bid card. And that bid card allows them to take part in the either the silent auction or the live auction. And of course, that's our ability to raise money that goes directly to NWTF.
And again, now you don't have to be a big turkey hunter. A lot of folks there aren't turkey hunters. I mean, they just come in for the support, the outdoors in general,
Habitat,
the habitat, the fellowship. I've been around a lot of outdoors people, and just a good.
everybody knows everybody. They're just about.
And I guarantee you, when you leave, you're going to leave with a bunch of new friends if you don't know anybody.
Yep.
That's right.
And
They're all there with the same common goal, is to continue our heritage and the hunting heritage particularly.
And what I get a kick out of going to all these, when I see these little kids and 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds, every table has some kids with them.
And we're going to have a youth-only drawing.
Okay.
Another little tidbit: we will have a youth drawing for a prize.
That's good. We didn't get a chance to the youth turkey hunt this year because it's been so.
We couldn't put it together.
Next year we're going to try to get that youth turkey hunt together.
We are. We're going to have another one this year, which is too soon after the storm. Everybody's mind was elsewhere, and I got a little criticism about it because some people took their kids and they killed turkeys, and they said, "We wish you would have had that turkey challenge." And I'm sorry.
I think everybody understands what happened. When you get hit by a Category 5 storm, some things are going to be.
Well, a lot of places, like Ken said earlier, there's a lot of places or businesses or events that decided not to do anything this year.
Yeah.
And I can tell you some.
Some are blown away.
And the reason was because of so much damage and devastation in our area. But we got, like Ken said, we got together, we talked about it, and we decided to go forward. And if people wanted to support it, they could. And if they didn't, that's all right. But so we're going forward.
And they won't say anything, but I will. These two men have worked very, very hard on this. It's been more of a challenge this year, I think, than ever. Even the first year, I think, because I know what y'all have had to go through, and they won't say anything about it. But my accolades for y'all.
Another part of it, we decided we didn't care if we didn't have but a handful of people this year.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, we got it. We run out of time. Y'all believe that?
Wow.
All right, so we're gonna be there, and y'all be there too. And thank y'all for coming on.
Thank you.
Morning.
All right, Winston, thank you.
Thank you all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We appreciate the viewership. Do something good today for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.